Mizoram Science Congress sáng nay lệ som ni mang tu zong zong te in zavain chibai kan bu ka châu vain hun poi bộ tắc hi kan chairman Mizoram Science Technology and Innovation Council chairman lệ kan ram phoi tu lu chief minister zom tak ni bok ku zoram thanga hawin bul kan chan dona anin min hon sak the dona kan nom tak mek meu ani ka dinglam ka velam sir ami so Dr. R. K. Lian thanga chief scientific officer ani thunga kumin Mizoram Science Congress sang hile somni hi COVID-19 awangin he science in khom pui mang tu zong zong ta na himna turin online na kalpui ani a Google Meet platform in a participant den anron zomanga in YouTube live stream page cho ani a khovel hun sang sang khovel kum matangin anron zom thedon ani in Mizoram chunga N2 tetan local channels pani LPS le zonet lama live a page cho ani boka chutiang chuan kan hun kan mangdona he Mizoram Science in khompui and theme he science is the soul of prosperity and sustenance tiania Mizoram chuan science hi mi fing nun khonom na le nun kho chua na lai mu ani tila adik ome chutiang chuan ni hi chung hun man turani a he ni hi chung a hian mithiam chi sang sang keynote speaker mi pathum Mizoram le Mizoram pona science thiam bi song anni a in expert panel discussion a tel tur mithiam mi song patni in hunan mang don bok ani in he hun chung hian oral and poster presentation science innovation le technology team sang sanga mi som thum le riat mithiam than so ten hunan manga in zirlai te no pang zok te child scientist te ta tem no pang pual hun an mang anga zirlai pual bi katan chutia ang chuan hun rang rang man ani dona children science expo ti ani a mithiam no pang zirlai nimet mi som parukin oral presentation an nei don ani ti chuan he science in khompui kan man chung hian mithiam kan so big le an mani research paper tenge ron the luten ni hi chung hian mi som rup pakwa mithiam ten punan ron mangdona lok thap tak turi ani in kan ringa tiang ang tu chuan science topic rang rang kan ngai thawanga kan zir hawanga ni hi chungin pun kan mangdon ani vainia emni pathum nen hian mi som sari pani in he science congress sum hian thu soina hun te zir ho na hun te kan mangdon ani vainia kan chief minister zom tak le mystic Mizoram Science Technology and Innovation Council chairman ho nge ya bul kan chan tu ri kan lom tak mek mewa chutianga he ni hi chunga Mizoram Science khom tui mang tu tena lok taka mang turin in zava in du sakna kan hlan chewa lo chim tu zong zong te du sakna chibai kan buk chewani tuna chuan chief scientific officer le member secretary mystic Dr. R. K. Lian thanga report pea atul angte triat tir turin le kan hun man dan tu tlang puite po min han triat tir turin kan so manga tuna Dr. R. K. Lian thanga lo so mang
Chairman Dr. C. Balaram Shah, Commissioner and Secretary Planning Department Science and Technology le kan Chief Minister Zom tak kan Chief Guest Nipok le Mystica kan Chairman le Boila he Congress abutan na program lo khiu tu zong zong te in java in Mizoram Science Congress sang hi som hi puan chi bai kan bu ma sa ve chewa kum sang hi le som panga kha Mizorama tomai po science lama tomai po rang paru Mizoram Science Society te Mizoram Academy of Science te Science Peace Association Mizoram Biodiversity Nature Conservation and Network Geological Society of Mizoram Mizoram Mathematics Society te cao khom chuanin Mizoram here science mi te in to khom na hun hi buat sai ve tai la a thang tin Mizoram Science Congress nei hi an hota chu so khar lampanga ron therin kini Science and Technology Department te le kan ho tu te nen tlamtlangin ba kan la so tanta chuan sang ni le som paru khan Mizoram Science Congress pasaber chu hen NGO Science NGO hang paru te le mystic Science and Technology tam ko pin kan nei theta ambassador chu Mizoram University a nga ania chu ta chuanin tuna kan manang chi tho hian paper presentation te oma in grassroots innovators ten zopa thiam thil an siam chua rang te enti na te neya tin no pang kualin children science congress te po nei ani boka khati kan ta kin kan phanga rum kan ti emema kan zong changa chuan kan ngai tu le a kum khat ka da tal hin ni tu mil tin ma la kharita a chuan sang hi le som paruka kan nei masak ber huwa kha ni kum hasa sang hi le som paria kha Pachunga University College nga alo di tuma ko hian a mang thohin kun thataki kan manga mi pui le zirlai te ko kan tama science mi te ku khom da chuani kun him op tang mai kun nuam tang mai kan mang theya kan song chang ewe mani chuan tun tuma hian kan ho tu de so khala pa kan ho tu de bin phu pui na le min ru man pui lein kum danga kan tiangin bala kan tuma kan tum dan pe chot tur October tha kharin Mizoram Science Congress sang hi som hi nei tum ania kan ti dan thit ba ma yang nei atira chu kan tuma amai ro chu bo ro a thata lowa thile na wangin thil duangin a kal thei ta lowa tho khat lai phei chu kan thul mai do ra mani kan ti dewa amai ro chu kan ho tu te abi takin kan commissioner le kan secretary di bok min phur pui la te kan chief minister saum tak ila min phur pui la te wangin a science mi kan di bok ka chu wangin ka thi angin tun lai technology mangin nei tum te an kan ti ta a chuan abu tu wa po mystica kan officials te ho kha bu tum big tu te bin kan huata a an ni kai hoina le NGO rang kan pui te phung bom na in tu an ki kan lo theng ta ani chuan tungtuma hian hemikan inaugural program huwa hian ta som pakhat vela tangin program dan tang tu la dia chu oral and poster presentation ania ta chuan physical science IT engineering stream lampang tan kan nei do na chu ta chuan kan keynote speaker chu professor R.S. Duncan Department of Chemistry Nehu Silong Ami Anianga expert member Putachu Professor Dewoker Tiwari Department of Chemistry Mizoram University Professor Jamal Hussain Department of Mathematics Mizoram University Dr. Alok Shukla Department of Physics National Institute of Technology Mizoram Mrs. Chongsa Pui Department of Information Technology Mizoram University te an nianga chonulama hian intellectual property rights chungcha soi ho na YouTube pa ayan the don ani tin zam lama zonet le LPS le YouTube ko tangin live discussion nei ani dona ta chuan COVID-19 ripui dona atana biotechnology changkai te soi ho ani dona ni hei hi program poi mo tak ani dona Dr. Chan Dami to song in a ho sanga kan mi thiam he so ho na del tu te chu Dr. Ace Lalhen Moya Ripan State, Dr. Badam Diana Pasung University College State, Dr. Rita Zomon Pui Mizoram University Amite Anidol Ani tin nak tu ka hian sikle sa lu tang lam zel climate change chungchang soi ho na in Bhutan ani nga chu da chuan climate change lampang le meteorology lampanga kanal te ami thiam ho ten soi ho na anei do ni chu da chuan poster le oral presentation nei ani le do na chu da kan thim tu chu agriculture le allied fields te life sciences le biomedical sciences te art sciences te ani do ni heta hian kan keynote speaker tu chu Professor F. Lanun Moya kan MLA zaom tak Vice Chairman Horticulture Development Board ni pok ani nga lead expert member tu chu Dr. S.T. Lalzazovi Department of Environmental Science Mizoram University Professor Deves Walia Nehu Shillong te Dr. Algusala Pachuao Department of Pharmacy Assam University le Dr. Ace Lalwasanga Department of Botany Pachunga University College amite ani do ni tin ani ditna naktu ka hia zirlai no pang Children Science Expo ni ani do boka heta hia child scientist than chuaten an project kha an ko lang do ani hemi huna here keynote speaker tu chu Dr. Arwal Moya Associate Professor Department of Botany Government Secretary Residential Science College ani hi stampa kan president nilai me ani pokani in expert member tu chu Dr. Nusiam Koli Principal Scientific Officer retired te engineer Zola Pachuao te Women Polytechnic Pachuao Women Polytechnic Zola bite ani do ani chu to pera kan soi du chu he hun lo ong tak mai hun sang kai tak pura kan be se kan le thela pura sa na min kuap tu le min phul pui tu kan chief minister sa ong tak chunga lom thu kan in kan commissioner secretary Dr. C Baram Sanga min kai khoi na le min thuron na awang na hemi lo thei thei kan ni wang na chunga lom thu kan soi buka ti kan thok ui NGO khang te chum lo chap lo wa tha mi lo wa min pui bom thi tu te le tu da po an ma ni awang hai tian khen thei kan ni awang an ni chunga po lom thu kan soi boka tin kan thok ui te office lama ka thok ui te in media lampang te le cable network ka thok tu te min troi om na awang lom thu ka soi boka he congress hi mi pui ten tu ti la tu da po hian a the piang in mani bunga tangin kan thiang angin lo chim ve la ti hi kan bu dan ania hei hian Mizoram ta ra tha a chu kan ringa science abul pui ania pasong na bul pui technology khang te engineering science khang te medical science te thei pasong atana abul pui ani wangin science lama Mizoram te ba kan son chuan thil da kong khang social economic development a ko ma kan son do ni to wangin Mizoram ten science hi ngai poi mo ila tun kan science congress ko hi mali thei angin mali ong na pu theba lo chim ve turin kan so mani kalo me
Dr. R. Kelal Yantanga, Chief Scientific Officer, kan lo me. He kan siat angin COVID environment ka phei chuan science kan nun khonom na le nun kho chu na poi mo takani science siam na pathian na mi fin te min pe angin pathian khoi na zara kan nung chauzel ani ti akhiat chu wang chuan kan to phi poi mo ani voini hian kan talan tong khan kan ram phoi tu lu ber le kan chairman Mizoram Science Congress and Innovation Council kan chief minister zom tak ni bok pu zoram thangan abultan na ahon na min kai huai the kan lom tak mewa ane na tangin thu kan ngai thadona nga ani hian chak takin ne takin mystic min kai huaya he program po hi ahwa kan relana tin tun me hian Mizoram Science Community tetana thilpoi mo tour Innovation Facility Center na kai huai na huaya ani to upper road khangin kim siam fel le hon the ani to kin loka min hon sak don bokani tu tiang ang chuan chak takin ani ka kwen hoya science technology le innovation lama Mizoramin ma ason zela chak takin kan kal zela wenia po ahun che takara science community tengai ko in ahun aron pangdona kan lom tak mek mewa tun na athucha le he hun honna min man sak turin chief minister zom tak Mizoram thanga lo soma
ole pu chairman le voina he kan science congress chim tur local hemi hunami te tin mun danga changa lo ngai thatu le chim tu zong zong te ama sign in vain chi bai ka bu chuwa voina Mizoram Science Congress kum sang ni le som ni December ni thum le ni lia kan nei tur hi har sanatin reng kara kan ngai thak tuang khan kan le yani kan COVID-19 natna wangin kanan tilo lekama sera ti ram dan omlom di tia aboi puitu tenen han tia wangin alo chuak thei rama alo mo me maya e science congress ka riat so lo chuan tun nilo hi chu address na om ka nei pu la rechia lawa science congress han address thu han soya abul han ti turian kanin ngai tua thina kawan min kawan tinglo tak em katia science rim ni sang ka ko somnga pasari khan pol sari kania science jirve turani antia an how to pa IPS min boral santa purau kunga champai uda silonga IGP nita kaka kan science zirtir tu ania ama in khoye changa not nge mu asia ka chung chu kan zirchan ani maya kala riat ring chu bul bere kan zir chu what is science ti hiania chu ta min by hat tir chu the word science is derived from a Latin word scio which means to know or knowledge ti min by hat tira chu a Latin what a Greek changa do kal nge ni ati chia lo po chu ka hello amara chu kan ziratlar masa beran ye wang kan by hat vika what is science ti ka kan exama kha ber kha lo chuak ta si lova kan thian pakhat khana by hat om chuna ni sia zona siam chopa achanga ala siam sual le nga la what is science ti ai kan where is science ala ti le ta nga chu ta tong chun kan zirchan ve ya chung kan zira chuan engating e mit pani kan nei ti te hian ya kan ma pencil an vit puna tian mit lelam min huptira chon thale lelam hup le ron tia ti kan thlapiang ina pencil omna kha in som thina mit pakhat chau chu nei la at in som na la ya kha opposition kha ifedik don no mit pani gana focus awangin opposition dik taki riat pha chu pathian in mit pani min pek na chanani ti te ka kan zirania howang reng tak changka yang reng tak kha ania ta chang chu ei chu science lama kal talo matric china chan tem chu kan zir vea eng mo chu ti chuan tuna khovelin chu science chuan khovel hi ati dang lam ta ania ba kan zira Bertrand Russell ziak ning ka the impact of science on society ti kan zira chu lo sang le to le maya kan re claim si eng policy voina hian kan soi tu chu science congress science in khovel a revolutionize ati dang lam na satjia chu mitinin kan revek mai ne ti chuan mana chuan kan pi pu tenun kan tha tu ma sa tenun ang nge ri pu nuayan om lai lo nei dan chi rang kan en chuan tun lai kan hun nen chuan awan ha dam thak ta em ti ani mani in sunga tui cho ngai lovin kan her chua kha Buden ngay là vin call-in min den saka. Thing from ngay là vin electric le gas in kan cho chum na min pe a. Tuna pe cho na theng sil theng in call-in min sil saka. Min bar lâu cháu ani maya. Chu tiang science kove la. Ha damin kan nun kan mang ta a. Arau puye e mani. Amai ro chu heng zong zong hi pathianin kantana asiam khovel fin na te song chuaka chuta tanga amal som na hi donga hele lung hi lua ama choi moi tura min da kan nia chu chu kan zong zela ni tin kan mu a training kan thethiam e ma a training kan thethiam lo e ma ka hiat ren chu electric bulb mu chuak tupan reilu tu voitam abe nuwa zanre takara anti eng ta lom lutuk anu pui mu vakai thova eng te ka tieng thei ta tia ani gan mai tier anin om timit thuai la lo muro atia enga ma lo ngai lo lutuk anti thom tu te ka ria chu tiang chuan heng science nakina kantana changkai em tur heng te hi zong chuak turin pathianin an thin lunga finna ada ti chuan khovelin azar kan lo zo ta zel ania tuna pe chuan khovel science finna te asang chho zela chung chu kan mamo zia atakina lo langa bolruk exam tur kani point ni kala exam turakal alangaya tuna chun Science Congress puinei turin muna changin hemi video conferencing engkim mai kanin betheya tihian engkim mai amak maya ai zol kho puyami te zoram muntinami indiaram muntinami khovele lamami poina anno ngai thak ngal te turin hetiang yen hun le mun yen hunanei ta lave motin kan ne ta emo titur kopin poem kanjira where are you times and space the world is a little place anti angka tuna chuan kan lo theng ta ani aro puingot mai chawangin he kan science congress hian hun le mun min ne sak na te tin kan development ta na ma min son tirjia kan kal kong zong tu ma chuan ai zola chama lung le in kar kong hi mi puin bong tu thole suadur manga sorkar poisa omya lova ziprot alai tlang ani thilmak athingani chang tar tan chuan ai zole lung le in kar tu ma pechon ahla le isualani chumi kong chu sorkar poisa tel lova bong tu thole suadur ringot alai tlang ani te po hi a kan sum tu thiam to mang Duna chuan JCB in bulldozer in chumi call-in alai zung kan zorang to development chitin renga science in ma min roi saka arina a oppo ngai to lo electric ti lum na mangina op ke zunga engkim mai bong ka rai na vok ka rai na chu tiang in engkim mai hi khovel fin nei science kan nun min chok ta aro pui ani chu wangin tuna chuan heng hi pathianin kan riata ta na aphal min pek ania kan zonga kan manga ti chuan kan thei to kin kan choze anga chu kan development ta ram mi puitan khovel mi puitan pathian choi moinan kan mang turani ti kha pathianin aphal chunga mi ania so vain chumia tam chuan fin na po min pek belzel voina yen heng science chumi laina chuan he ye tharania he yen yati soitur ke chuan eng ma ka shelo amma ero chu kan maba ka ti turala tam zero chu kan hu riat reng chu The War of the Worlds the H.G. Wells asiak novel ka chier to poinomin karinga hovel himar sami sikation mi tin an ngai tu an nan ron runa an ni chuan eng silayan ne ya an ngam lo lu tu ka khang zong te ne khan atopa England rama an battalion an sipai tenin ne ngang do ni nen chenama an mang ang to am mai ro chu ni thum nuwa an vaina martian ho wan lo thi fek mai le bacteria triu te na si ngam lo khang sikation mi pui te kha an lo tlom che fek mai lo ni ti H.G. Wells zia ka khan aswang tu na ada kan tu nai khovel nen ka ngai tu na chu na in nai ko hydrogen bomb kan nei ya atom bomb kan nei ya chung bomb chon kap chuak ma se apua tak ma adan na tu lo ka pu lok na te po kan nei le to zo ka indo ma ile indo le te lo khopin kan thiam na hi sang to ni aro pui em ka so yang khan hun le munin khovel hi mun anei talo ti tu ra ni amero chu mi kara chuan mei thai re thei bera changin America sarkar hau saber changin ti ngai na kan riat lo covid 3 te reu te kal sak tak po ni hau local thei om vak po go lo mu tham lo khan America president changin are thei ber changin min suta ti ngai na hre lovin ti hian pathian in a tool ati chuan ti hian kan vai kluk dual mai chu wangin heng zong a po enge ni Jerusalem chunga pathian thin urnangun nam avantir kovinalek atok ta ati china chuan eta rauna huizol chunga pathian in a tok ati china lo thenga are ta ni khata singte lan thina mun kha tuna chuan uta al aqsa te ani lo le temple ro puite Abraham le tha te ho mun puya te alo chang ta kha si pui to na kha ti chuan ke ni po pathianin Mizoram tam India ram tam khovel tan tuna covid he thin urangun nam khovel chunga alek meka atok ta atidon mai te pon yang ni jan lamate kan huangin covid donut turata na vaccine an muchua ke tenan tia kan no ko pathian in remati chuan eng mang hian atok ta milati sakdon te po ani ange ainga po ni sela ka soidu chu kan riat chin ba khovel scientist ro pui berinan riat chin ba ki afalatam hei tuna kanan tia electric power chak na in khovela hun le hun hi ne in a omega amma ero chu eng chak na nen rap lin atlang pui twin nanga darkar second kata mel noi khatle singri le sang ru ka chakin eng hi kale anti china amma ero chu arsi nai berpo kum somli somnga eng ina kalanga yani sia athen pecho Milky Way le mun dang te pecho kum sang sing eng ina akal ngai te alani eng tluka chakpuin kal do ni la amring dam chung pang ayen arsinai berpo kha kan theng manang empty ani mi ringin kan ria kan ti apia lam pathian lal ram chini avala tam amor te po hi kan la po phalo mange kati amai ro chu pathian in chu ta chuan amor aro puina kan tem na tur pakhat phalchin aneya chu uan oi chau eti hian pathian arsi engina kum sang te la kal tur po chu ngai na vin ngai tu na min pe khian second khata thleng nga te ni pathian nen po arsi la ber po universe to po kan ngai tu nen king hal te ni amer chu aron communicate le na chu pathian ina oi lo chu to ro prin nu ri kuna chu mi khovela kan om chu aphala ni chu ven pathian kan ngai tu nen khovela pom se America to pa mi po arsi to pa mi po kan ngai tu nen voi khata hun le munina a control lo time le space na control lo one way man kan pathian in min phal saka amar cho kirle lamero chu amaina aphal china chau bot oi chuan kan nei thei ton ani amar chu te mai po chu kan mang tang kaya ei a khovel mithiam ten tun main enge ni a ngai tu na hian in communicate thei ni lom ni di an zong na sa ma se chu pathian in oi lo wangin kan lo tin tak no mani ole ka soi chu ti khopa he science hian ma son na ro pui khovela pathian in min phal saka kan nei zel thei na turin thei topin ma kan langa kan scientist te kan zirlaiten ma son cho zel ila ama ero chu apia lama hian heng zong a phal chin min ron petu kan pathian hian reserve ala nei liana kan zirzel tur ala tama nakina nen kan khian huna heng pia lama mi ro pui kan lam hun tur te a donani ti rechungin voina an Mizoram Science Congress abul chan ila eta participant lotel tur zong ten min peturo puina tar lang turin athil siam kan riat china hi kan man thiam hi kan bat venia chumia tan chuan tun kan program zong po hi itmangang u dikha kan ahon nan kan soi du ani kalome
Chief Minister Zom tak le Mizoram Science Technology and Innovations Council na hun hoi mo tak min hon sak na le kan khiat tura thu ja ro pui tak min soi te min thil te sereng chungin science congress hi lo tling tak le lo taka mang turin du sang na kan lan chewa kan Chief Minister Zom tak na soyang khan kumda kan man ngai lo angin online min kan man hianin rem chan na mi pe hlau zo pa kumda kal khom thelo te pon ke mani om hun chewa khovel hun sang atangin hun hi kan chimin kan hang the don zo alo ni a chu hang chang kaya kan za na hun hi lok ta hang thau turin du sang na kan lan cheu ni chu inauguration program a kan hun man thei te ni sela in ja vai chunga kan lo me
Thế cần chân khai luôn chị Nam đi. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. I am H. Dimpui, Project Scientist at State Climate Change, Mizoram Innovation, Science and Technology Council. I will be your host for today's session. I, on behalf of the organizers of Mizoram Science Congress 2020, welcome you all to today's oral and poster presentation session. We, the organizers, are Mizoram Innovation, Science and Technology Council, MISTIC, Directorate of Science and Technology, Planning Department. This is the third Mizoram Science Congress. Similar Science Congress have been organized in the year 2016 at MNZU and 2018 at Pathong University College. First, I would like to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker, Professor R.H. Duncan Lingdo, Professor at Department of Chemistry, Northeastern Hill University, Nehu. He finished his PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and has several areas of specialization. He also once worked as a lecturer at Pathong University College from September 1981 to February 1982, where he taught BSc Chemistry and pre-university science. He also has a number of research projects where he was the principal investigator. As well as presentations. He also delivered several keynote addresses at national seminars and conferences. He also has foreign collaborations with professors from University of Georgia, USA, and Swinburne University, Australia. Professor Lingdo not only excelled in the field of science, we can say that he is a versatile person as he has composed 32 full vocal and instrumental works. He plays the piano, organ, guitar, and even sing. He also conducts choirs and performs piano in classical music concerts. He is able to read, write, and speak English and 9 Indian languages. He is specialized in the study of Tibeto-Burman languages, especially the Meitei-Chin group. He is also interested in theology and philosophy of religion and indigenous tribal folklore. He is even engaged in translation of ancient Mizo folk tales. He has a deep interest in the history and culture of Northeast India. Sir, welcome. I now request Professor R.H. Duncan Lingdo to deliver the keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes,
I think
sir,
I'm
you are.
audible now.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. Hayam.
Yes, yes.
Well, thank you. Good. Yes. Well, at the very I'd like to express my thanks and sense of privilege for being graciously invited
No.
by the organizers of the Mizoram Science Congress 2020 for this second session of the Congress, which is focusing on physical sciences, engineering, and IT. It is very heartening to see how the organizers of this conference, the scientists and intellectuals of Mizoram, how they have been able, even in these difficult times, to arrange for this Congress to be held. And this is indeed a great step forward, and I hope it will be much to the scientific benefit of the people of Mizoram. And I wish the organizers all the success and every best wish for all that lies ahead of this Congress. Now, if we shall get down to the presentation, if I could kindly see it on the screen, the keynote address or plenary lecture, Malamem,
Oh, sir, can you see the slide on the screen? Imutayem.
Kakang Telo, ano lang lang. Presentation, si Latlan Zoalat, ito walang
Sir, see, just go ahead and pin Silat and Zola's presentation on your screen. That's for you. May ma po. Ako. RH. RH Duncan.
Ikan screen cholang a full of in.
Hello, I'm sorry, we are facing some technical issues. Can you please wait for some time? Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Please unmute your microphone.
Is it unmuted?
Yes, yes, yes.
I think it's unmuted now.
Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay, I think we can start now.
Ah,
Yeah. So I want once again to thank the organizers of the Mizoram Science Congress for this honor to present this keynote address or plenary lecture at this session number 2 of the Mizoram Science, which is on physical sciences, engineering, and IT. I wish the organizers all the best and congratulate them for all their efforts. Okay, so this talk of mine is going to use computational chemistry to probe the molecular basis of cancer by certain chemical carcinogens, like N-nitroso compounds and alkylating agents. How do they cause DNA? How do they cause cancer by modifying DNA through alkylation? Next slide, please. Hello, all. So cancer has a number of causes, chemical, physical, and biological. And chemically, carcinogens tend to run in families like N-nitroso compounds, aromatic hydrocarbons, aromatic amines, and so on. And thereby they present an environmental and occupational hazard when present in the environment. So the origin of cancer is known through mechanistic studies which have been conducted experimentally and theoretically. This work is done theoretically, or rather computationally, to study the molecular basis of carcinogenesis by N-nitroso compounds and alkylating agents through the use of a molecular model. Next slide, please. Now, these are N-nitroso compounds, which are amine or nitrogen compounds having a nitroso group attached to the nitrogen. And they are about 87% of all the known compounds which have been tested are in fact carcinogenic. They cause cancer. It includes dialkyl nitrosamines, N-alkyl nitrosoureas, N-nitrosamides, and so on, while alkylating agents simply alkylate the nucleophilic sites on DNA, including alkyl halides, methane sulfonates, arene sulfonates, and so on. Next slide, please. So how does a chemical carcinogen actually attack the DNA? Miller and Miller, some decades back, introduced an ultimate carcinogen which says that most chemical carcinogens act by being metabolized to or being in themselves electrophilic species called the ultimate carcinogen, which attacks nucleophilic sites on DNA. Now, the direct acting carcinogens do not require enzymatic activation and attack DNA directly, whereas the indirect carcinogens do require this enzymatic conversion. Among the N-nitroso compounds, dialkyl nitrosamines require metabolic activation, while others like alkyl nitrosoureas do not require such activation. Next slide, please. This is the metabolic route for carcinogenic activity of dialkyl nitrosamines, where after action of the P450 oxidase enzyme, it becomes converted into an alpha hydroxyl nitrosamine and goes on through chemical conversion to eventually yield the alkane diazonium ion, which is the actual agent which attacks DNA through alkylation. Next slide, please. Now, the role of DNA is invoked in the somatic mutation model of cancer. Cancer is described as a genetic disorder in the somatic cells of the animals and man. There are certain genes called oncogenes, which when are expressed or activated cause cancer. And very often this activation is done through point mutations involving just a single DNA base. And it so happens that the N-nitroso compounds and alkylating agents, they alkylate DNA at a critical site and thereby activate the proto-oncogene. So we're going to study the effects of alkylation at various nucleophilic DNA-based sites, so that after alkylation, the DNA base can generate a point mutation, and this occurs through base mismatches. So we select just the N7 guanine, O6 guanine, and O4 thymine sites for alkylation in DNA. Next slide, please. Yes, here are the DNA components alkylated. First two are the N7 methyl deoxyguanosine. The second one is the same species in the neutral form. So we have a cationic form, which is obtained immediately upon alkylation. And we also have the neutral form, which may be generated if an N protein is lost. So we have three series: the N7 guanine series, the O6 guanine series, and the O4 thymine series. Next, please. Now we have worked out a model to explain the mechanism of cancer by alkylation of DNA, or rather mutation. Here, firstly, the Watson-Crick nitrogen protons have to be abstracted at biological pH. So that depends on the proton acidity and the pKa value. Secondly, the alkyl group has to be in a suitable conformation so that it will not block the H-bonded mispairing. And thirdly, the mismatched base pair has to have a configuration which is close to the Watson-Crick double helical type so that it will be accepted during replication. So these three aspects, Watson-Crick proton acidity, alkyl group conformation, and mismatched base pair, are going to be dealt with using computational chemistry or quantum chemical methods. Next slide, please. Yes, first criteria is about the proton acidity of the alkylated bases. Now we know that N7 alkyl guanines do not induce point mutations and are irrelevant for cancer, whereas the O-alkylated bases, O6 alkyl guanine and O4 alkyl thymine, can induce points at critical sites and may be relevant for cancer, especially O4 alkyl thymines. Now, why is this so? It is because N7 alkyl guanines, they do not lose the N1 proton, and thereby they are able to base pair like normal guanine with cytosine. Whereas at biological pH, O6 alkyl guanine and O4 alkyl thymine lose their Watson-Crick protons and become mutagenic. So therefore, this should be reflected in their experimental pKa values, which for the pro-mutagenic O6 alkyl guanines and O4 alkyl thymines is low, lower than 7, whereas for the non-mutagenic N7 alkyl guanines, the pKa is higher. Next slide, please. So we have used DFT, density functional theory, to study 4 series of alkyl bases using the methyl, ethyl, isopropyl, and tertiary butyl groups to alkylate the nucleophilic sites N7 guanine, O6 guanine, and O4 thymine. We have used the B3-lip and MP1 B95 methods in gas and simulated aqueous phase, although we quote only the B3-lip aqueous phase values. Now, as you can see, there is a differentiation between the non-mutagenic and the pro-mutagenic. The non-mutagenic N7 alkyl guanines have rather high values of this deprotonation energy, whereas the O6 and O4 alkyl thymines are more prone to lose their N protons because of their lower value of their deprotonation energies. So thereby we're able to differentiate very well between non-mutagenic and pro-mutagenic alkylated species. Next, please. The next step is the conformation of the O-alkyl group in the O6 alkyl guanines and the O4 alkyl thymines. We have shown the syn and the anti-conformers of both, where the syn conformer cannot allow for normal hydrogen pairing or even an abnormal mismatch. Rather, it has to rotate over the R group has to rotate over to the anti-side away from the hydrogen bonded zone to allow for base pairing to occur. So we have shown the syn and the anti-conformers for the O6 alkyl guanines and the O4 alkyl thymines, where an anti-conformer is required for successful induction of point mutations. Next slide, please. So these are the conformation plots where we plot the rotation as per the energy. And we find that they are largely similar in many ways, but the rotational barriers from syn conformer to anti-conformer for the O6 alkyl guanines, methyl, ethyl, isopropyl, tertiary butyl, they're quite low actually. Next slide, please. These are the plots for conformation analysis of the O4 alkyl thymines, methyl, ethyl, isopropyl, and tertiary butyl, where the tertiary butyl thymine is found to have a very high rotational barrier, thereby precluding that this conformation be adopted under normal circumstances. Next slide, please. So that's why we have found, scientists have found that all nitroso compounds which release tertiary alkyl groups, they are non-carcinogenic, non-mutagenic. And why is this so? It is because the barrier to syn anti-rotation is highest for the tertiary butyl group, lowest for the methyl group, and the magnitude of the barrier, tertiary butyl case is so high that it will be very difficult to attain an anti-conformer under normal circumstances. And that is why a proper mutagenic base pairing scheme cannot be arrived at for the O group. Next slide, please. Now we come to the third part, which is how the hydrogen bonded base pairing actually causes the mutations which cause cancer. So it's not that all the alkylated bases are responsible for cancer. N7 alkyl guanines, in fact, do not cause cancer, whereas O6 alkyl guanines and O4 alkyl thymines are mutagenic and thereby could cause cancer. This is because of the acidity of the protons, the N protons at biological pH, which differentiates between the non-mutagenic N7 alkyl guanines and the pro-mutagenic O6 alkyl guanines and O4 alkyl thymines. These engage in base pairing with the wrong base during DNA replication and thereby perpetuate a point mutation which could be possible if critically situated for the induction of cancer. So we are studying all these bases, the various bases, the normal base and the mismatched base, to see how the protic state of the alkylated base may or may not cause mutations. Next, please. And here we have the base pairing schemes with the hydrogen bonds between the two base moieties. We have used a model putting a CH2OH group instead of sugar. And here we have firstly the normal base pairs, guanine, cytosine, thymine, adenine. And then the next three arise from N7 alkyl guanine. Firstly, the cationic base pair before losing the N proton. Then secondly is the neutral non-mutagenic pair upon loss of the proton. And thirdly, we have the N7 alkyl guanine neutral pair with the thymine, the wrong base, which is the one actually which could, if existing, cause the mutation. Next, please. So these are just Gauss view depictions of the various base pairs involved N7 alkyl guanines. We first have the cationic series methyl, ethyl, isopropyl, tertiary butyl, and then we have the neutral, non-mutagenic row, and the last row is the neutral, mutagenic base pairs, which unfortunately cannot occur in biological pH because that proton is not abstracted. Next slide, please. So the results for the N7 alkyl guanine base pairs are that of the three types of pairs. The first one, N7 alkyl guanine with cytosine, is not mutagenic, but is the one that actually occurs at biological pH in nature. And this one is expected to actually occur and predominate and not cause any mutation because the N1 proton is still present there. Then out of the two neutral pairs, the first one is not mutagenic and it is not relevant. But the third one, N7 alkyl guanine neutral with thymine, it could be mutagenic, but it is not formed at biological pH and thereby will not predominate. So the predominant base pair is the first one, N7 alkyl guanine cationic with cytosine, which actually does not cause any DNA mutation. And thereby, this agrees well with previous experiments done in vitro and in vivo, pointing to the non-mutagenic effects of N7 guanine alkylation. Next slide, please. Now we come to the O-alkylated base pairs with O6 alkyl guanine, O4 alkyl thymine. First row is the O6 alkyl guanine in three forms: the cationic form, the neutral non-mutagenic form, and lastly the mutagenic neutral form. Similarly, the bottom row shows the O4 alkyl thymines, the cationic form, and then the deprotonated neutral form, which does not cause mutation, and lastly the deprotonated neutral form, which actually can cause mutation because it pairs with the wrong base, guanine, instead of adenine. Next slide, please. So here again, we have these pictures of the various base pairs formed, which can cause mutation or not cause. The first row does not cause mutation, being cationic, but it does not occur in nature because the N proton has been lost, and thereby this cationic base pair cannot form. The second base pair, the second series, shows the neutral O6 methyl guanine with cytosine, but this pair actually is not favored. The favored one is the last row, O6 neutral alkyl guanine, the methyl, ethyl, isopropyl, and tertiary butyl cases, which actually form mutagenic base pairs or mis pairs at normal biological pH during DNA replication. Next slide, please. And so for the O6 alkyl guanine, the results are as follows. Of the three types of base pairs, the cationic, the non-mutagenic neutral, and the mutagenic neutral, the one that actually forms is the last, O6 alkyl guanine neutral with thymine, the mutagenic pair that is formed at biological pH within the Watson-Crick configuration. It is expected to predominate, and it is this form, the O6 alkyl guanine with thymine, which causes the point mutation, which is actually a base pair transition from guanine to adenine. Next slide, please. Now for the O4 alkyl thymines, here again are the three types of pairs, cationic, non-mutagenic neutral, and mutagenic neutral. Now this is rather important because it is the last row, the neutral form, which is mutagenic, pairing with guanine instead of with adenine. It is that which causes mutation for the methyl case, the ethyl case, and the isopropyl case in the last row. But the tertiary butyl case, unfortunately, does not fall within the Watson-Crick configuration and is thereby rejected during DNA replication, which is why a tertiary butyl group, when alkylating DNA, cannot cause a mutation and thereby cannot cause cancer. Next slide, please. So So these are the results for the O4 alkyl thymine base pairs, where we have the 3 types non-mutagenic, which is not expected to be present at biological pH since the N1 proton is lost. And then of the 2 neutral types of pairs, there's a competition for pairing of the neutral O4 alkyl thymine either with adenine or with guanine, but the guanine pair is the one that is favored, and that causes mutation, a point mutation, because it falls within the Watson-Crick configuration and predominates at biological pH, with one exception, that tertiary butyl case is completely deviant from Watson-Crick configuration, and thereby it leads to a non-mutation in which no mutagenic base pair is formed by tertiary alkyl thymine. So this is the conclusion that O4 alkyl thymine at biological pH can cause a point mutation through pairing with guanine instead of adenine. And this is in agreement with many, many previous experiments done in vitro as well as in vivo. The only exception being the tertiary butyrase, since no tertiary alkylating agent is known to cause cancer, they are non-carcinogenic. We found an explanation why this is the case. Is because a pro-mutagenic base pair with the O4 alkyl thymine cannot occur, and it is disrupted, and a non-mutation is the result. Next slide, please. So this is the summary and conclusion of this talk. With our DFT method, we have differentiated the N7 alkyl guanines, which are non-mutagenic, from the mutagenic O6 alkyl guanines and O4 alkyl thymines on the basis of Watson-Crick protonation facility. Secondly, we have found that the conformation analysis shows that tertiary butyl O4 tertiary butyl thymine has a very high barrier for rotation from the sen to the anti-conformer, and that is in line with the carcinogenic and mutagenic inactivity of all N-nitrosyl compounds and alkylating agents which attack DNA. They are all non-carcinogenic. And thirdly, we have established that N7 alkyl guanine is a non-mutagenic species, and it pairs with cytosine during DNA replication. Fourthly, O6 alkyl guanine exists in that neutral N1 deprotonated state at biological pH and prefers to pair with thymine during DNA replication, causing a point mutation and eventually cancer. Whereas O4 alkyl thymine is also in the protonated state at normal pH and pairs with guanine during DNA replication, causing a point mutation. So this agrees with experiments done in vitro and in vivo, and that actually establishes this particular model, the 3-step model, as being correct and most likely very sound as well. So with that, the next slide, please. I will want to thank the organizers of this Congress, the Mizoram Science Congress 2020, for their kind invitation and for this honor of being present at this session 2. And I wish them all the best for the rest of the Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the keynote address, as well as for accepting our invitation and making time out of your busy schedule to attend this session. Thank you, sir. So I think we can now proceed to the oral and poster presentation. And for this session, we have 4 expert members. Professor Diwakar Tiwari, Professor at Department of Chemistry, Mizoram University. Professor Jamal Hussain, Professor at Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, Mizoram University. Dr. Alok Shukla, Associate Professor at Department of Physics, National Institute of Technology, Mizoram. And Mrs. R. Chong Sang Pui, Assistant Professor at Department of Information Technology, Mizoram University. I thank all the expert members for making the time to attend this session despite your busy schedules. Before we start with the presentations, I would like to request all the participants to mute their mics and videos. Only the presenter will unmute his or her mic and video. The length of the presentation should be 10 minutes, and after the presentation, there will be a short question and answer session from the expert members. First of all the best to the presenters. Let us now start with the oral presentation from Physical Sciences section. Our first presenter is Delpoy Muaralte from Pathunga University College. Sir, you can now begin your presentation. Delpoy Muaralte, is he present? Moving on to the second presentation, let us now call Kayla Nunsiami from Mizoram University. Is she present? Okay, moving on, let us call Mohan Khatri from Mizoram University. Mohan, please start your presentation.
Okay. Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Mohan Khatri. I'm a research scholar in the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, Mizoram University. The title of my discussion is on a class of generalized recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold. First of all, I'll give a brief introduction of the topic, and after that, we introduce hypergeneralized phi recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold and study geometrical properties and also prove its existence by constructing a non-trivial Euclidean manifold. Next, we introduce and study quasi-generalized phi recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold. First of all, symmetric space plays an important role in differential geometry. In 1926, Cartan first initiated the study of symmetric space. In symmetric space, the curvature tensor is covariantly constant. Next, in 1977, Takashi generalized the notion of symmetric space by introducing phi symmetric and studying it in Sasakian manifold. And Dubé in 1979, he introduced and studied generalized recurrent manifold. In generalized recurrent manifold, the curvature tensor satisfies equation 1, here ABR1 form. And a non-flat Riemann manifold is said to be generalized phi recurrent manifold if its curvature satisfies equation 2. Here A and B are one form, and this generalized phi recurrent manifold, taking the one form B0, it reduces to phi recurrent manifold. The phi recurrent and generalized phi recurrent manifold are studied by many geometers in different almost contact structures such as Sasakian manifold and K-mu contact metric manifold. Further generalizing the result of generalized phi recurrent, we introduce hypergeneralized phi recurrent. A Riemann manifold is said to be hypergeneralized recurrent manifold if it satisfies equation 3. And recently, Venkatesa in 2020, he studied hyper and quasi-generalized phi recurrent in Sasakian manifold. Now, introducing this, we studied hypergeneralized in K-mu contact metric manifold. A K-mu contact metric manifold will be called hypergeneralized phi recurrent if its curvature tensor satisfies equation 4, here ABR1 form, and H is the tensor which is defined as shown in equation 5. And when studying hypergeneralized, we see that in hypergeneralized phi recurrent, the one from AB, and also its corresponding vector field rho 1 and rho 2 are related by the following three equations. And when considering that the scalar curvature of the manifold vanishes, then the manifold, it is either, then in manifold, either the one from AB are co-directional, or it is 0 where mu value is 2 n minus 1 n contact metric manifold. And supposing that the scalar curvature of the manifold is a non-zero constant, then we obtain the relation between one form A and B, A plus 4 and B equal to 0 at any vector field. Also, we obtain the condition under which a hypergeneralized phi recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold reduces to a generalized phi recurrent. Finally, we saw that any hypergeneralized phi recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold is an eta-Einstein manifold. Now, example, we construct an example of a hypergeneralized phi recurrent. Let E1, E2, and E3 be an orthonormal basis in a three-dimensional Euclidean space, and let G be a remnant metric defined as shown here, and eta one form which is defined along the metric G, and phi be 1, 1 tensor field defined at each point of the basis. And for this choice, we obtain that the three-dimensional Euclidean space will be a K-mu contact metric manifold. Then the curvature tensor of this manifold is as shown in 6, and also the F curvature is 7. Now, at each point of the manifold, we define the one form A and B as shown here in 9. For this choice of one form, the three-dimensional Euclidean space manifold become a hypergeneralized phi recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold. Also, it is neither phi symmetric nor phi recurrent. Now we'll look at quasi-generalized phi recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold. A K-mu contact metric manifold will be called quasi-generalized phi recurrent if its curvature satisfies equation 10, and the F curvature is now defined as in equation 11. And so that in quasi-generalized phi recurrent, the associate one form D and E along with the scalar K are related by this equation. Also, if the scalar curvature of the manifold is a non-zero constant, then we obtain the relationship with the scalar curvature and the one forms. Also, we derive out the relation under which it reduces to a generalized Ricci recurrent manifold. Next, in quasi-general phi recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold, we obtain the expression for the scalar curvature of the manifold. And also here we see that it also become an eta-Einstein manifold. Now we construct a non-trivial example for a quasi-general phi recurrent K-mu contact manifold. Here again we consider that E1, E2, and E3 are orthonormal basis of an three-dimensional Euclidean space, which is defined as follows. And in 2017, Hugh saw that for this choice of orthonormal basis, it is a K-mu contact metric manifold for where the K and mu value are -1 by Y. Since E1, E2, and E3 are orthonormal basis, any choice of vector field XYZ on M can be expressed as a linear combination of these bases. For this choice of basis, we obtain the expression for the remnant curvature R as 12 and the F curvature as shown in 13. Again, we define the one form A and B at each point of the basis as shown in 14, and see that for this choice of basis, they satisfy equation 14, and hence it is a three-dimensional quasi-generalized phi recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold. And also from this example, one can see that there exists a three-dimensional quasi-general phi recurrent K-mu contact metric manifold, which is neither phi symmetric nor phi recurrent. And here the list of some of the references used for our work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohan, for the presentation. Now we will open the question session from the expert members.
Hello, Mohan.
Yes, sir.
It was nice presentation,
Thank you.
and I was just wondering,
Yes, sir.
while constructing that example,
Yeah.
three-dimensional
Yes, sir.
Euclidean space U2. So, can you just explain that example again? Like,
Yes, sir. This one.
uh,
Yeah. So first of all, in three-dimensional Euclidean manifold XYZ, we take the three coordinate as real numbers where the x is non-zero, and we randomly choose basis E1, orthonormal basis E1, E2, and E3, and we suppose that they are related, their Lie derivation are related by this. And next, since it is a Riemann matrix, so its value at the diagonal we take is as 1, and which are non-diagonal we take is as 0. Then we define the
what is G?
yes, sir. It is the Riemann matrix G. Since this is the Euclidean metric, and in Euclidean manifold, always the Riemann metric is similar to the identical metric.
And they're orthonormal, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, we can go for next presenter, I think, madam.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sir. Moving on to the next presenter, we have Silan Wanpuya from Patsunga University College.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, you introduce yourself and go ahead.
yes, sir. Greetings, everyone. I am Sila Monpuya, a research scholar in Mizoram University, Patsunga University College campus, armed with the knowledge titled S-based heterogeneous catalyst of bio-waste origin, catalytic activity in an aqueous aldol reaction, the use of orange peel ash as a catalyst in aqueous aldol reaction. And here are the research team with Dr. Kevan Dinpuya, the corresponding author. The research work was done in the chemistry research lab of Patsunga University College. And that's all about the formalities. Moving on. The aldol reaction needs no introduction in the scientific community. It involves a CC bond formation between an aldol donor and an aldol acceptor. Depending on how the reaction ends.
Excuse me, can you please share your presentation?
Share your slide, please.
Wait. Is it working now?
No.
No.
Present now. Dia kan unload te.
Oh, kaluta.
Chuan
What?
share a window. Ika.
Is it working? You can't try.
Oh.
Chatomo.
Oh, han full
Okay.
screen na tikan.
Okay. Abul trang ka translate thầy tro.
Tikan si Mero. Oh, tikan.
Okay. Yeah. Let us start all over again. Greetings, everyone. I am Sila Monpuya, a research scholar in Mizoram University, Patsunga University College campus, armed with a knowledge titled S-based heterogeneous catalyst of bio-waste origin, catalytic activity in an aqueous aldol reaction. In this work, we use orange peel ash as a catalyst in aqueous aldol reaction. And here are the research team with the one on the right, Dr. Kevan Dinpuya, the corresponding author. The research work was done in the chemistry research lab of Patsunga University College. Moving on. The aldol reaction needs no introduction in the scientific community. It involves a CC bond formation between an aldol donor and an aldol acceptor. Depending on how the reaction ends, it can be classified as an aldol addition or an aldol condensation. Here we are focusing on aldol addition and avoid the condensation. With various catalysts and solvents being explored in the reaction, a simpler, cheap, eco-friendly, yet effective catalyst is still on demand. Therefore, the use of an orange peel ash as a catalyst and water as a solvent is in fact a greener route for the synthesis of aldols. The research work was done with three main purposes. Number one, making use of the massive 3.8 million tons of orange peel waste produced per year and reduce the waste. Number two, to switch from the normal trend of using organocatalysts in organic synthesis and shift the paradigm. Number three, to develop a greener route for the synthesis of aldol, sticking to the principles of green chemistry. And here is the graphical representation of the research methodology. There's an orange. Oh. Any problem? Okay. There's an orange purchased from a local vendor. The peels were thoroughly washed and washed with distilled water and then dried in an oven at 80 degrees Celsius for 12 hours. The dried orange peels were burned to ashes. The grayish-white ash was sieved using 100 BS, and analyses like XRD, XRF, SEM, TEM, EDX, FTIR, ICP, and TGA were done to decode the physical and morphological properties. And that's all about the catalyst preparation. 1 millimole of aldol acceptor was mixed with 2 millimoles of any one of the 3 aldol donor candidates. And then 20 mg of orange peel ash was added as a catalyst and 100 equivalent of water as a solvent. The reaction mixture was stirred at room temperature for aldol acceptors having electron withdrawing substituents and 55 degrees Celsius for electron donating substituents. The reaction was monitored using thin layer chromatography. After completion of the reaction, extraction was done using ethyl acetate and water and then to purification. Final stage was characterization of the purified compounds using NMR. And here are the SEM and TEM images of the catalyst with different magnifications, A and B being SEM images, C and D being TEM images. What information can we get from these images? The SEM images show that the OPA has an agglomerated structure with so many pores on the surface. It is porous in nature. The TEM images show that the OPA seems to have a squishy characteristic with high porosity as well. This may attribute to enhance the rate of adsorption and eventually the catalytic activity in the reaction. And here are the XRD and EDX data of the catalyst. The catalyst is rich in metal oxides and carbonates, which are known to catalyze the aldol reaction, maybe through literature survey as well. And here is a table showing the observation data of the reaction. The catalyst loading is fixed to 20 milligram. The reaction time shows that electron withdrawing groups in the aldol acceptor increases the electrophilicity of the aldehyde group and ultimately the reactivity as well. However, electron withdrawing nitro group in the ortho position takes a very long time to complete. This may be due to intramolecular hydrogen bonding between the aldehyde functionality and the adjacent nitro group. In case of substituents with electron donating group, the electrophilicity decreases and thereby the reactivity. Hence, an elevated temperature of 55 degrees Celsius is required to carry out the reaction. Among the 3 aldol donors, that aldol donor B, that is cyclohexanone, has 2 prochiral centers marked stars. Therefore, the reaction generates 2 chiral centers, which results in a racemic mixture of the 2 diastereomers, SYN and NT. This makes the reaction really interesting as diastereomeric selectivity comes into play. Now let us look at the proton NMR spectra of para-nitroaldol with cyclohexanone as an aldol donor. The chemical shift at 4.9 ppm, the chemical shift at 4.9 ppm, this one. It corresponds to the proton C in the anti-diastereomer, while the 5.4 ppm corresponds to proton C of the syn diastereomer. The peak integrals of the syn and anti-diastereomer suggest that the diastereomeric ratio of anti and syn is approximately 92:8 in favor of the anti-isomer. This infers that the OPA catalyst does not simply catalyze, but offers a high diastereo selectivity as well. The catalyst was recovered and reused. For every loss in the amount of the catalyst, a compensation was given. Although the catalyst loses its activity in every successive cycles with respect to reaction time, the yield percent, however, remains nearly unchanged. With all those findings, we can come to the conclusion that a simple bio-waste orange peel ash is a suitable competitor list of renowned catalysts. The reusability of the catalyst ensures its versatility. The use of water as a solvent not only is eco-friendly, but it is believed to help avoid condensation according to Le Chatelier's principle. Overall, with the catalyst being recovered and reused, and the solvent being water, the reaction is claimed to produce no waste at all. In fact, it is the sink for bio-waste. Therefore, this reaction is no doubt a greener route for the synthesis of aldol. To wind up, let us see a quote from a mathematician, Bruce Barger. The simple and familiar hold the secrets of the complex and unknown. Therefore, make use of the simple ones to decode the complex ones. Thank you.
Thank you, C. Lelwan-Puya, for your presentation. Now we'll call upon the expert members for the question session.
Okay, Mampuya, can you open the XRD figure, XRD slide?
Yes, sir. Slide 6. Yes, sir.
Yes. So did you get any impurity peak here, or all are related with your sample only?
Actually, sir, this catalyst, this orange peel ash,
Yes.
has a lot of has different compositions, right?
Yes.
The aim of the experiment is to try if orange peel ash has some compounds which can actually catalyze the aldol reaction. So this one, like the red circle, marked red circle, this one is calcium carbonate. It is a base. It is already known to catalyze the aldol reaction through literature survey as well. And this calcium oxide as well. All these are able to catalyze the, the aldol reaction. There are also some, there might also be some compounds which actually cannot catalyze the reaction, but these carbonates and oxides are sufficient enough to catalyze the reaction.
And what your
Did I answer your question, sir?
EDX?
I'm sorry?
What your this EDX graph will represent?
The EDX graph, yeah, the EDX graph shows the elemental compositions like calcium, potassium. All these are metals, right?
Yes. Did you find any loss in their elemental value? Stoichiometric
In
ratio?
the elemental, stoichiometric. Not actually, sir. Not actually.
Okay, thank you.
Because the sole aim of the reaction was to detect if this orange peel ash has the ability to catalyze the aldol reaction.
Okay.
Thank you. This Lelwan-Puya,
Yes, sir.
it's a
Yes,
nice
sir.
presentation, in fact. Okay. So one
Thank
thing
you,
what Dr. Shukla is asking, you have not done anything loss to see. Loss in the sense that when you are catalyzing the reaction,
yes.
Did you try any loss and all that? So first thing. Second thing, what you are talking about this, the XRD data that you are representing here, it is
Yes.
not quantifying things, all right? So you
Yes,
have
sir.
to
Yes, sir.
quantify, and for that I suggest you that the XRF, if you try to do, the exactly you will know that what is the the content of those oxides, and then you can better pinpoint what is mainly involved, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is
So,
my suggestion while carrying out this kind of the studies. And
sir, yes,
third thing that I would like to suggest to you that at the end, you have shown that 90% yield and all that. So
yes, sir.
did you try that if you are not using the catalyst, what was the yield? Then you can present it in a better way.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and you have shown, in the initially you have shown many the analytical techniques that you have used, but none you have shown other than the XRD, SEM, and TEM.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Since
Yeah,
since it is a
and
8-minute
SEM and
presentation,
TEM,
though.
just listen me.
Yes.
In SEM and TEM, okay, what actually you have to conclude that has not concluded, in fact, seeing
Yes.
that the TEM analysis. So anyway, it's a nice initiative that you have already started your research. I congratulate you.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions, let us proceed to our next presentation. The next presentation is by Delpoy Moaralte from Patunga University College. Sir, you can start your presentation.
，Hello. Oh, can I share my screen?
Yeah. Just once. Sir, can you just wait a moment?
Okay, can I share my screen?
Yeah. Just once.
No, I mean that I want to share from my laptop. I want to
Okay.
share from my
Okay,
laptop.
sir, you can share it now.
Oh. Oh, where is that? Your entire screen. No, share is not working in my laptop.
Okay, we'll share it, sir.
Oh, okay. I'm using this. Okay. Oh, good afternoon to you all. My name is Lapoy Moadi, Primal Statistics, Patunga University College. Today, I will give a talk on linear fidelity model for vibrate survival data. Okay, next slide. So the outline of this presentation is number one, survival analysis, number two, fidelity model, and baseline distribution in infection data table conclusion. Okay, next slide. Okay, survival analysis a set of techniques used to analyze survival data or failure time data. So the aim of this presentation is to construct a new frailty models and to test the validity of the proposed models. Okay, next slide. So Cook's hazard model is the most commonly used survival model, which is given in equation 1. So in this case, there's no frailty terms. So in this context, we'll try to add another frailty terms. Okay, next slide. So in this popular models, it is assumed that all populations are homogeneous. So which means that all the people have the same chance to get the disease. But we know that in reality, all the people cannot get the same chance, especially due to genetic factor or some other factors. So it may be different from one another. That's why we need to model that heterogeneity. Okay, next. Okay, next. Next. Okay. So sometimes we neglect such unobserved coverage, or that is also called negative coverage, because if there are too many coverage to consider or lack of appropriate tools to measure the covariance, or researchers are not aware of the influence of the potential covariance that may exist. Okay, this example existence of genetic factors. So this is very, very important in this context. So in the popular models, these genetic factors is used to neglect. That's why we need to model these genetic factors. Okay, next. So the first one is this is population of this most popular model. This is Cox-Super hazard models. But here you see that this is baseline hazard, and this is the exponential effect of the covariance. So here we have at here unobserved covariance. So this unobserved covariance will represent the frailty terms. So here Z will present the unobserved covariance. So this model survival function can be obtained by using conditional survival functions, and this unconditional survival function can be obtained by using the Laplace transform. Okay, next slide. So for the true component, this is the survival function for the frailty models, and this is represented by Laplace transform. Why when I want to represent the survival times, which are independence given the frailty. We represent here frailty. Okay, so when the frailty terms integrate out, y1 and y2 will become dependent because the frailty is common to both components, and it is called self-frailty. Okay, next slide. So then what is a frailty? Frailty is an unobserved covariance, unobserved random propagation factor that modified the hazard function of an individual or related individuals. This is first used by Clayton by 1978, and without using the notion of frailty, but the term frailty was used by Foucault in 1979. Again, this is the extension of the Cox proposed hazard model. This is the most commonly used survival function, survival models. Okay, next. So I will highlight some. Okay, next. This is not important for this. So this effect of frailty is not directly estimated from the data. Okay, it cannot estimate it from the data directly, but instead is assumed to have unit mean and finite variance. That finite variance you need to measure. This will represent the frailty terms or heterogeneity in the population, which is to be estimated. If this is positive, then it presents some heterogeneity, and if this is zero, then that means there's no heterogeneity. Okay, next. So effects of ignoring frailty. So sometimes you ignore this frailty terms, then it may cause all these points. If the frailty is significant in the model and is ignored, then the model will be inappropriate, and the decision based on such model will be misleading. Okay. If the frailty is ignored, the estimate of regression coefficient will underestimate or overestimate. SCA, BIC, DIC, this is the information criteria, will be more as compared to the model with frailty. Decision based on the model without frailty will go wrong. Ignoring frailty effect with finite mean may result in negative bias in the estimated time dependence. Okay, next. Okay, next. So in this terms, we propose a new frailty model. This is called linear self-frailty models. This is a new model. So the density function of the linear distribution is given by equation number 2, and the Laplace transform of the linear distribution given by equation number 3. And this linear distribution has mean this one expectation of z. Okay. Okay, next slide. So for the identified field, which means that we want to estimate the variance of the frailty distribution. That's why you need to assume mean is equal to 1 and variance is equal to finite. So which means that for the identified field, you need to assume mean is equal to 1 and finite variance. Under this case, so the C function of linear distribution become equation number 4, and Laplace transform become equation number 5. And in this case, the variance of the linear distribution become 4xi minus xi square minus 2 by xi square. And under this, the new model become unit 6. So equation number 6 represent the new frailty models. Okay, next slide. So here, based on the baseline distribution, also this frailty model also have different properties. Okay, next slide. In this context, we have choose the generalized radial distribution as balanced distribution because this distribution fit well to the survival time data. So these are the properties. Okay, next slide. And the next baseline distribution we consider is exponential power distribution. So we have choose this distribution because this distribution has very unique property for the survival time. Okay, survival time data. So that's why we chose this distribution also. Okay, next slide. So we propose these models. So the first proposed model, the first one is this several function is we obtain from the Laplace transform. You know that. So this first model is based on the Rayleigh distribution, and second this is equation number 4 is based on the exponential baseline distribution, and equation 15 and 16 are without frailty. Without frailty means this is the most commonly used that has survival model. This is Cox proportional hazard models. Okay, next. So you have to compare these 13, 14, 15, 16. So this model we apply to the kidney infection data. Then we check the validity of the proposed model to the this kidney infection data by using Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. Okay, next. So these are the data, kidney infection data. This is the infection occurred due to the insertion of catheters. So this infection may be due to the this infection may be due to the age, sex, disease type. This is GN, AN, and PKD. GN is glomerulonephritis, AN is acute nephritis, and PKD is polycystic kidney disease. Okay, these are the risk factors given in this data. Okay, age, sex, and disease type. Okay, next page. So from here, we want to check that
Sir, please unmute your mic.
okay. Okay, now we check the validity of the proposed model by using this case statistics. So you see that the case statistic value of first observation of zeros is 0.98, and for exponential this is 0.96, and for the second survival time is 0.99, and second survival time is 0.75. So which means that this proposed model is valid for the kidney infection data. This proposed model is valid for the kidney infection data. Okay, next. Okay, now here we see that under this zero-elliptic baseline distribution, other than that risk factors, we have at this xi present the heterogeneity, or this is frailty parameters. Okay, if the frailty parameters are present, if frailty parameter is positive, so which means that there is some heterogeneity among the population. Okay, next. Okay, under this the exponential distribution. So you see that beta 1 is age and beta 2 is sex, and this is GN, AN, and beta 4 is AN, and beta 5 PKD. So from here you see that age is negative. So this means that if age increased, then the infection will also be increased. You see that xi is positive, so this means that there is some heterogeneity, which means that other than this risk factor, there is some genetic factor and environmental which cause the infection of the kidney. Okay, next. Then we compare all the proposed models by using AIC, BIC, DIC. This is statistical term. So AIC means AKIK, information criteria, and B means basic information criteria, and DIC means deviance information criteria. So smallest observation means that this is the best models. Okay, smallest observation means the best model. So according to this observation, model 1 has smallest AIC, BIC, DIC. That means model 1 is best or it is better than model 2, model 3, and model 4. Okay, next. And here you also use to compare the model 1 and model 2. Here you use base factors. So base factor is also more than 10. So which means that this is very strong positive which support model 1. So model 1 is better than model 2 by using this base factor also. So this model is I hope that this model is very useful for finding the genetic factors and some random factors also. Okay, so we see that the other application of this model is also in cancer data. So cancer is very popular in Mizoram. So some may chew betel nut and some may not chew betel nut. Okay, some may chew betel nut, they may not get cancer, and some may not chew betel nut, they may get cancer. So that means though you are not chew betel nut, if you get get cancer, so that means that there are some genetic factors. Which represent some there are some genetic factors, right? So that means that genetic factor also you can also find out by using this model. I hope so. This will be I hope this will be useful for finding the genetic factors in cancer data also. Okay, next. So from all of the above results, you can conclude there is heterogeneity among the study population, which is significant, and all the variety models fits better to the clinical infection data than without the variety models. So that means heterogeneity means that all populations have not the same. All population have not the same chance of getting disease. Okay, they have not the same chance of getting disease. So that means due to genetic factors or due to environmental factors, population are differ from each others. Okay, next page. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilpoy Mua, for your presentation. We'll now call upon the expert members to ask their questions.
Lalpoy Moya.
Yes, sir.
So I must say again, yeah, it is a nice presentation.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But in this type of stochastic models,
Yes, sir.
statistical models, I always wonder about the validation. The results that you draw, you use statistical tools, but do you validate? I mean, is there any guarantee that the model gives, correct prediction?
Yes, sir. Here.
How do you do the validation part?
Sir, in this case, we can consider you can use simulation study. So, but due to time constraint, I cannot add all the simulation study. So in this simulation study also, we see that all the estimated value are approximately equal to the estimated value. So if these two are almost equal, then you can say that this model is also fits very well to the this data also.
Yeah, because validation is an important part of any modeling process.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So make sure that your predictions are correct. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
do you consider real data? Or do you
Yeah.
collect medical data for your studies?
Sir, this is real life data. We have considered real life data for this is a real life data you have considered. But for validation, the actual validation of the proposed model, we can use a simulation study. From that, we can generate some samples, and by using the sample, we can analyze the proposed model.
Okay, so if possible, you can add in your paper a separate section on validation. I think that will increase the quality of the work also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Lalpoy Moya. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next presenter is Lel Montana from Mizoram University. Sir, you can now begin your presentation.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes.
Can you hear me? I have some issue regarding the screen sharing. So if you could directly screencast from there, I would be really delighted.
Okay. Sir, can you please wait one moment
Yes, yes.
and we'll share it for you.
Da-dee-da-da-da. Okay, can I start?
Yes, you can start, sir.
Okay, hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chana, and thank you for this opportunity to make this presentation on study of induced half-metallic ferromagnetic property in CD or monolayer with non-metal doping. I'm a PhD scholar from Department of Physics, Mizoram University, and currently I'm working on a research in Physical Sciences Research Center at Pachunga University College. And first, I would like to apologize for any inconvenience I caused. Now, next slides. Monolayer are low-dimensional materials, and I don't think anyone is new to this kind of thing. And interest has been emerging in some recent years ever since graphene was successfully prepared. Two-dimensional structure possess unique properties which are different from their back counterparts. Not only that, these 2D materials have tunable properties, which means that their properties, whether it's electronic or magnetic or anything, it can be modified, enhanced, or improved according to our needs. And for our study, we consider CDO as its stability has been proven using first principle calculations back in 2015. And then doping, we introduced doping as a mean of enhancing and improving its properties so that we can extend its applications over certain nano devices and electronics. Next slide. Our objective in this study is to investigate the structural, electronic, and magnetic properties of pure and the doped CDO monolayer, and how half-metallic magnetism in the proporous material under substitution doping is induced, and to investigate potential application of the CDO monolayer structure for future nanoelectronics and devices. Now to next slide. Our methods of study is based on computational methods, so I will not go too detail on it. It employs a computational method based on vast software, and certain approximation is used to study these kind of properties using this computational method. And in our case, we are using vast software, and the approximation considered is GGE, PBE, SOL. And for this study, the structure we consider consists of 32 atoms, 16 CD and 16 oxygen atoms. And for doping, one of the oxygen atom is replaced with the dopant, boron, or carbon atom. Now, next slide. Here we can see that the study on the pure CDO shows that it is perfectly planar and stable, and its structural properties, in fact, are such as lattice parameter or bond angle is in agreement with some previous works. We can see from the electron localization function given in figure 2A, that the bonding between this cadmium and oxygen is purely ionic, as most of the charge are localized around the oxygen atom. Figure 2B also gives how doping will be done in the structure. One of the oxygen atom is replaced with the dopant, B, boron, carbon, or nitrogen atom, and the structure stability is confirmed using computational method. You can see from the band structure given here in figure 3 that in the pristine structure, CDO is a semiconductor, and then but when we dope boron, given in a figure B, the system starts to exhibit magnetic behavior in one of the spin state given as spin down. This magnetic behavior, not only this magnetic behavior, the band gap is also largely reduced in the case of boron doping. This change is mainly due to the this change in half metallic behavior is mainly due to the 2p orbitals of the dopant atom. In the next slide, if you can change the slide now. Similar case has been observed as well. in the case of carbon and nitrogen doping as well. Please, next slide. Yeah, you can see from here that carbon and nitrogen doping also exhibit a half metallic behavior when carbon atom is or nitrogen atom is put in place of the oxygen atom. But in the case of nitrogen and carbon doping, the band gap remains almost the same with the pristine structure. The noticeable difference in the band gap in B dope in comparison with the pristine structure is attributed to the shorter bond length of the extrinsic B atom. Now, next slide. Here we have the electron localization function of the boron dope, carbon dope, and nitrogen dope CDO monolayer. We can see that in case of carbon and nitrogen dope, charges are still localized around the dopant atom or the oxygen atom, which shows that the bonding remains ionic. But in the case of boron, less charges are localized around the dopant boron atom, which shows that there is a presence of covalent bonding, but with partial ionicity. Next slides. Here we have the magnetization density calculation. It shows that magnetic moment arises mainly from the dopant atom, which is boron, carbon, or nitrogen. It induces a magnetic moment to the nearby atoms, the Zn and the Cd and oxygen neighboring atoms. You can see from the figure that B atom possesses a local magnetic moment of around 0.12 νB. C possesses around 0.5 and nitrogen possesses around 0.4 νB. This magnetic moment arising from the dopants change the non-magnetic system into half-metallic magnetic semiconductor with a total magnetic moment of about 1 νB for the boron dope, 2 νB for the carbon dope, and 1 νB for the nitrogen dope CDO monolayer respectively. And for our conclusion, I'm highlighting some of the calculated parameters already given here as already discussed. We can say that this study confirms that non-magnetic element doping is an efficient route to tune the magnetic and electronic properties in the CDO monolayer, and its potential application in light-emitting diodes, field emission devices, solar cell, or even storage devices makes it a suitable candidate for nanotechnology. What I have not written here is that we can also we can see from the study that the charge and the spin can be manipulated simultaneously when doping with this extrinsic atom, which shows that there is application over spintronics and other quantum technologies that we have for the future electronics as well. And we can also induce D0 ferromagnetism by introducing this dopant atom. Now, next slide. Here are some of the paper I use for references. Next slide, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Len Montana, for your presentation. The expert members can now ask their questions.
Yes, Mona, I have some questions.
Yes, sir.
First, you tell me which software you have used for calculation.
VASP.
Software.
It is known as VASP,
Okay.
VASP.
Do you have any idea about the structural change in your monolayer?
Yes, sir. We have studied all the structure. Pardon, sir. Can you repeat, please?
Did you tell me the name of a structure which you will get after doping?
The name of the structure.
After doping, you get any structural change in your monolayer?
Actually, no. In case of these dopants, three dopants, the structure remains stable, but there is a slight changes in the bond angle because there is a changes in the atomic radius. But apart from that, the structure remains planar, and the bond angles remains almost the same with the undoped structure.
Okay. Any other idea about your band gap energy?
Band gap energy.
For your sample?
The band gap energy in the case of boron is highly reduced. It's highly reduced. We think this is mainly due to the smaller atomic radius of boron, as most of the valence bands are contributed by the dopant atom. So the introduction of boron might have reduced the band gap. But in the case of carbon and nitrogen, the bonding are almost comparable with the replaced oxygen atom. So it's almost the same. It's a little bit reduced, but the change is not that huge.
Thank you.
Okay, if there is no other questions, I think we can proceed on to the next presentation. We have a poster presentation from Dipanta Gogoi. He will share his poster presentation, and if there is any question from the experts, then the presenter can answer. Dipanta Gogoi, please share your poster.
Hello, ma'am. I'm audible.
Yes.
My name is Dipanda Gogoi. I'm from Department of Chemistry, Mizoram University. And today my poster presentation topic is density functional theory, study of temozolomide, which is an alkylating anti-cancer drug. And this is my poster. And here I have worked on temozolomide, which is an anti-cancer drug. And here I have using Gaussian 16, and with the help of DFT level of theory, I have calculated all the properties, such as electronic and spectroscopic properties of temozolomide.
Sir, can you show the next slide?
And these are the methodology result and discussion, and with the conclusions.
If the experts have any questions, they can ask.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
How much chemical shift you got in your sample?
For elasto molecule, elasto proton, I got 7.69 ppm, and for like methyl group is 3.87 ppm.
So three values are there, na?
Yes, sir.
So which one be better for you? And why?
This methyl group.
Why?
Because this is an alkylating group. After the hydrolysis, this methyl group will attach to the guanine side, which help for the apoptosis of the cancer cells.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, then with that, we have completed the physical sciences section presentation. In the next section, we have only 2 presentations, so I think we can proceed without having a break. So from engineering and IT sections, the next presenter we have is Ramkleng Liani from Mizoram University. Ma'am, you can now start your presentation.
Thank you, Miss. Miss, can you hear?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Miss. Today, I will have a presentation on the topic of analysis of traffic movement at congested junction in ideal city. We all know that the world population is increasing day by day. The number of vehicles used are also increasing respectively, which results in increasing heavy traffic on the road. Therefore, for maintaining the health traffic on the road, it is necessary that the road should be provided with sufficient space required by the vehicle to move easily on the road. For that, we need to study the present traffic situations of the road to get the idea of traffic volume moving through it. So that the traffic volume count study is carried out for useful information like magnitude, classifications, and directional speeds of vehicular flow, and is useful for designing roads, overbridges, and underpasses. Proportions of vehicles in the traffic is also counted in road. Our capacity of roads reduced if the proportions of slower vehicles increase in the traffic system. And from the traffic volume count, hourly, daily, and yearly, and seasonal factor can be calculated. Our objective is to conduct the traffic count at congested junctions to find out the average daily traffic. Average daily traffic means when the traffic volume counts are carried out only for a few days, such as 3 to 7 days. The average daily traffic volume obtained is called average daily traffic, and to find out the directional flows and peak hour volume, and to analyze pedestrian volume data for the safety purpose. For a traffic volume survey, there are two methods: manual counting method and automatic counting method. Under manual counting method, there are direct methods and indirect methods. In indirect methods, the data were collected by the workers immediately, so that we can have traffic volume as well as vehicle classification. In indirect methods, the traffic volume count is collected by the video camera. Video is captured, and after that, the data is collected by rewinding the video. And automatic counting method. In this method, the mechanical counters can automatically record the total numbers of vehicles crossing a sections of the road in a desired period. For this traffic volume survey, the method adopted is manual count method. Due to simplicity and direct, and it can classify the different types of vehicles, and the data can be used right after the collections, and no special equipment is required, only pen and paper, and that is not costly, and it is easy to collect the data. And this is the formula for our traffic volume survey. We have PCU for PCU values for different types of vehicles. It is because that in mixed traffic situations where different types of vehicles share the same roadway space without any physical segregation, the problem of measuring volume of such heterogeneous traffic has been addressed by converting the different types of vehicles into equivalent passenger car and expressing the volume in terms of passenger car unit per hour. Here is the traffic data collected at Mizoram, and the number of vehicles per day is more than 39,000. From the and from this figure, we can see that the private vehicles are very much more than the public transportation. In public transportation, every people from the number of from the numbers, two-wheelers have more occupied the road, and that is and the same things happen to and Vivacon Junction, and the peak hours is between 9 to 10 a.m. in the morning and 5 to 6 p.m. in the evening. From this pie chart, we can see that 68.7% of the vehicle is two-wheelers. This will cause that the capacity reductions of the road, and this will lead to the heavy traffic. For same type insurance Bavan, Vivacon Junction, and Vivacon Junctions. Here's at Middlesex and First, Bhavan, we count the pedestrians. We count the pedestrian volume for the pedestrian safety, and from the figures that we know that along the cross is more than the road across the road, and this leads to the reductions of road width and with road width, and there is no overbridge and underpass for the pedestrian. That is highly recommended to have a underpass or overbridge. For the conclusions that average daily traffic at congested junction is more than 29 thousands per day, and it is found that Mizofet has higher average daily traffic due to petrol pump or due to petrol pumps. The pedestrian volume has caused significant disturbance in traffic movement, especially in Mizofet junctions, and so that overbridge and or underpass is suggested. It is observed that it is also observed that private vehicles are profoundly and rather than public transport. In-road capacity of road reduced if the portion of slower vehicles increased in the traffic situations. And the peak hour is observed at two different timing, morning and evening, at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 5 to 6 p.m. respectively. It has from the data we have 61 to 67 in the congested junctions vehicles compositions are the two-wheelers occupied 61 to 67%, and others is almost negligible, and the reductions of traffic volume has observed on the government holiday by more than 20%, whereas the number of bus pick-up and truck volumes almost remain same. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramthingyani, and open session from the expert members.
Okay, Ramthingyani, thank you for the nice presentation. I would like to ask, how does the pedestrian data help in planning in traffic engineering? Ramthingyani, I repeat my question. How does the pedestrian data, how does it help in planning in traffic engineering? Because basically you're doing traffic engineering.
Yes.
Okay, am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, miss. Traffic pedestrian volume count is usually needed due to when it is crowded. It is rarely that pedestrians will went to the road, and it will reduce the width for the road for the vehicles. No, it will
Okay.
it
Yeah.
it will reduce the road width due to they need space for walking. No, so
Yes.
in
So
that area at
okay. Basically, it can be used for planning of sidewalks, crosswalks. Okay. And my next question is, you have said that you have used manual data collection. Is it not better to go for the one probe vehicle, meaning to say that mobile vehicles with data collection equipment being fitted, and the other you can use a fixed sensors? So are they not more effective than the manual one? Why do you go for the manual collection of data?
We go for manual count method due to simplicity and direct, and we count because it is not costly. No, we didn't have machines to count that.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
Me and my friends count that. Oh yeah.
Okay. So my last question: what could be the potential future research directions? Do you think a smart traffic management system would solve all these problems?
Yeah, I hope that it will solve. Because before making the roads, that we need to know how many pedestrians and also vehicles passing through will pass through that road. So this will surely help the expert.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Next presenter we have is Ledwin Hui from University Visvesvaraya College of Engineering. Please share your presentation.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, you are
Yes,
audible.
we can
Yes,
hear you.
yes.
Good afternoon to all my fellow participants, organizers, and respected experts. My name is Lilming Hui, a recent mechanical engineering graduate from University Visvesvaraya College of Engineering. And the topic of my presentation is a study on the mechanical behavior of bamboo fiber and chicken feather reinforced polymer hybrid composites. So before understanding what composites are, first we need to understand why composites are needed. Many of the applications in the world today require materials with unusual combination of properties that cannot be met with conventional materials such as wood, steel, etc. So composite materials are heavily studied and researched. A composite material can be defined as a material that consists of two or more chemically and physically different phases separated by distinct interface. So composite contain a strong carrying material which is known as the reinforcement embedded in a weak matrix. Reinforcement provides strength, rigidity, and stability in supporting the structural load. A very notable property of composite materials is that individual chemical and physical properties of the constituents are retained, but when they are combined, they produce qualities which individual constituents would be incapable of producing alone. So can be classified according to the base matrix material and according to the shape of the reinforcement. We have polymer composites, ceramic composites, and metal matrix composites. And according to the shape of reinforcement, we have fiber, laminate, and particulate. So in the present work, we are concerned with polymer matrix composites, meaning that the matrix material that we are using are made of thermosetting polymers. In figure 1, you can see the figure of resin and hardener. So this type of thermosetting polymers known as epoxy resins are are readily available in markets. Polymer matrix composites consist of a polymer resin as the matrix material. The term resin here refers to a high molecular weight reinforcing plastic. So the next slide is regarding the use of feather as reinforcement in composite materials. So in recent years, natural fibers are used as reinforcement in composite materials due to their superior properties such as low density, biodegradability, great specific stiffness, and more impact absorption capacity. So in this present work, we have chosen to work with bamboo fibers and chicken feather fibers that are obtained locally. So the growing interest in natural fibers is fueled also because there are strong evidences that support that fiber reinforced polymer composites are environment friendly. Bamboo fibers have many advantages, including high aspect ratio, strong mechanical performance, and bamboo fiber is intended to replace glass fiber for a cleaner and more sustainable future for industries. So the size of a single bamboo fiber ranges from 10 to 30 micrometer, in diameter and 1 to 4 millimeter in length. And chicken feathers contain 91% keratin, 1% lipids, and 8% water. So chicken feather fiber possess good resilient properties because of the presence of more in its cross-section. So the unique characteristics of keratin leads investigators and researchers to search for alternative uses of waste chicken feathers for a number of potential applications. So the objective of the project is to develop a new class of natural fiber-based polymer composite to explore the potential of bamboo fiber and chicken feather and to evaluate the tensile strength of the hybrid composite for structural and non-structural applications, and also to evaluate the flexural strength of the hybrid composite for structural and non-structural applications. So the method used for the fabrication of the composite is a hand layup method, and hand layup method is a close molding technique which is done manually. So first, the reinforcement fabric the fabrics are placed. In this case, the fabrics are bamboo fibers and chicken feather fibers, and they are placed, and then resin is poured over the dry reinforcement fabric, and then we have a roller which is used to eliminate air bubbles and irregularities that may arise, which may affect the fabrication. So the first step for chemical treatment feather is so here are the different steps given, and we use 2% ethanol to rid the chicken feather of impurities, since feathers that we obtained from local sources were very much filled with impurities and unwanted smell. So after it is treated with 2% ethanol, it is again treated with 1% sodium hydroxide solution. This is done because this is done in order to aid the bonding between the matrix material and the reinforcement material, which is the chicken feather. So after the chemical treatment is done, the chicken feathers are heated in oven at 110 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. And here is the chemical treatment of bamboo fiber. And bamboo fiber here is again treated with sodium hydroxide solution at 1% sodium hydroxide solution because in order to aid the bonding with the matrix material. So after it is treated with 1% sodium hydroxide solution for 10 hours at 70 degrees Celsius, the bamboo became really soft, and then they are hammered with normal hand at home, and then we wash the fibers with water in order to clean the remaining sodium hydroxide solution that still may be present, and then it is again heated in oven at 100 degrees Celsius for 35 hours in order to dry the fibers. So this is the process flowchart of the hand layup method, and in figure 9 we can see the fabricated composites after using hand layup method. So after the bamboo fiber and chicken feathers are treated with chemicals, they are mixed at different weight fraction, and then so the laminate is cut according to ASTM standard, and after the laminate is cured, mechanical takes place. So the tensile strength test the tensile strength can be defined as the maximum stress that a material can withstand while being stretched or pulled before fracture. So the tensile test for the specimens was conducted according to standard ASTM D3039, and their average values were reported. In figure 10, we see the UTM setup, and the flexural strength is carried out by using ASTM D790, and in figure and the average values were reported. And in figure 11, the flexural test setup 3-point test is given. So in table number 1, we have the tensile test values. So the bamboo fibers and fibers reinforced hybrid composites were prepared with different weight fraction. They were tested by using the universal testing machine. And from the table, we can see that at 40 bamboo fiber and 0% chicken feather fiber, the tensile strength was observed to be 72.555 megapascals. And at 40% bamboo fibers and 10% chicken feather fibers, it was found to be 41.049, and so on. And the average tensile strength of the composites was found to be 45.65 megapascals. And for the flexural strength test, the bamboo, so at 40% bamboo fibers and 0% chicken feather fibers, the flexural strength was 49.2. And at 40% bamboo fibers and 10% chicken feather fibers, the flexural strength jumps to 7.25 megapascals. So the average flexural strength of the composites was found to be 107.405 megapascals. So in figure 12 and 13, the variation of the total weight fraction with tensile strength is given. So in figure number 12, the x-axis contains the total weight fraction, and the y-axis contains the tensile strength of each concentration. And in figure 13, the x-axis contains the total weight percent, and the y-axis contains the flexural strength of each concentration. So the bamboo and chicken fat composites are prepared with different weight fractions and subjected to tensile and flexural strength tests. From the experimental study, the following conclusions can be made. The maximum tensile strength is 72.555 megapascals, which is held by 4% bamboo fibers and 0% chicken feather fibers, higher than many compounds. Also, we can see that 72.555 is the maximum tensile strength as compared to other concentrations. So at 40% bamboo fibers, we can come to a conclusion that the main contributor of the tensile strength in the composite for this particular experiment is the bamboo fibers. They are the main source of tensile strength. So the maximum flexural strength is 227.25 megapascals, which is held by 40% bamboo fibers and 10% chicken feather fibers, which is higher than many composites. The composite can be considered during material selection by the designer to be used in automobile parts such as door panels, mirror casing, helmets for its superior tensile strength, and also for pedestrian walkways and even driveways due to its superior flexural strength. So here are the references that I have used for this paper, and thank you for your time and your patience.
Thank you, Lalming Hui, for the presentation. We'll now open the question session from the expert members.
Okay, thank you so much for this paper, Lalming Hui. I think
yes,
she's
ma'am.
the one who is yeah. Okay, so when I see this one, it was interesting since it can be applied for many applications.
Yes,
but I
ma'am.
have some questions. Regarding this, you have mentioned that many researchers, it has become an interest for other researchers as well. So can you mention the new or novel method which is used to conduct a research study?
Ma'am, can you please repeat the question?
Okay. Is there any new or novel method which you have used in order to conduct a research study?
For a particular research, we have opted for a hand layup method, which is a very simple one. Since there was a bit of a time constraint for us, we opted for the most simple one. But in other researches, they have used more developed processes. Instead of using manual method, they have some have used machined method of casting for the fabrication.
Okay. Is there any particular reason for selecting these two natural fibers? You have chosen bamboo as the plant fiber and chicken feather as the animal fiber. So is there any reason for selecting these two natural fibers?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, we know that Mizoram is very rich in bamboo. Even our chief minister is very interested in bamboo. So we thought that maybe if we could use bamboo, and chicken feather is just a waste feather for most of us. If we see it on the road, we just think of it as a wasted feather. So like we're thinking maybe if we could infuse the two and make something get some wonderful results out of it, then it would be very good for not only for us but for Mizoram as well.
Okay, thank you. My third and the last question. It is very common phenomenon that flexural strength is usually higher than the tensile strength. Why?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, this has something to do with natural fibers and their orientation. Since by studying different results obtained by other researchers, we can see that like in basalt carbon, core human hair, silk flax, and all those different materials that they have used, flexural strength is always higher. So it has something to do with the fiber orientation and the chemical component of the fiber and the void spaces.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So just, excuse me, can I hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so just, as a chemistry point of view, I was looking into your presentation. Presentation was quite interesting. I like to know that what is the main component which is giving you the strength and all that when you are using this fiber. bamboo fiber and all that?
Yes, sir. For chicken fiber, it has 91% keratin. So we can say that for chicken fiber, the main source is obviously keratin.
No, no.
But
The question is that keratin, is it in that form because you have heated it around 105 degrees,
yes,
isn't
sir.
it? So
Yes,
what
sir.
is the actually what fiber in what form it is there? Fiber may not be that in the that
Yes,
form. Yeah.
yes, sir. When I
Because-
say fiber, I'm not talking about like the microscopic level fiber.
Yeah.
Like in engineering, it may be a little bit different from chemistry, but when we obtain let's say for example, the bamboo is hammered into small pieces. So like we just consider that as fibers. So since it is not in a microscopic level, surely it will contain, it will still contain some of its elemental characteristics. So,
No, this is my suggestion that you better go much more deep inside.
Yes, sir.
Then it will be a good study.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. More insights are required.
Yes, sir.
This is my personal suggestion.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
That was the last presentation for today's session. And before we call upon the expert members for their concluding remarks, we will have a short interlude during which we will show a short presentation on science and technology activities in Mizoram and Mizoram Science Congress. Okay, thank you for watching the presentation. Now we will call upon the experts for their concluding remarks, and I request any of the expert members to give their concluding remarks.
Can I say? Pujamal, can I say
Yes, sir.
first?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, okay, thank you. So thank you, madam. So first of all, I'm very honored and thankful to the Mystic inviting me as the expert member. I do not know whether I am the expert or not. So I'm very thankful to the MISTIC as well as to the science organizing committee of this Science Congress. We are delighted to see that the Chief Minister himself is taking interest in the activities in the Mizoram state. So it's a great the privilege for me also that to see the activities in the Mizoram, and we are always associated, and whenever it is required we are always ready to do whatever is required. So this session was started with the keynote address by Professor Lingdo. I know him personally also, that he is from Nehu, Shillong, and he has given a wonderful talk related to the guanine and the cancer related the theoretical studies, and followed by the several the presentations by the young researchers. Some of them are our own students. So nice to see that it is a good presentation what we have observed today. And some of them, I feel that it was good research work, which can be quoted as the frontline type of the research that they are conducting even in the colleges and all that. So thanks to everyone. Some of them, they were absent. We have to see that why more participation will be helpful for the overall this progress and the development of the science and technology in this state. So thank you once again to all. Thank you very much.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes.
At the outset, let me thank the organizer for giving us this opportunity and making us part of the Science Congress 2020. It's really wonderful to see diverse research areas and a good research outputs. Only thing many people and participants, they inquired about publication of the papers presented. I think if that was in planning, I do not know, but if it is announced in advance, I think we could have attracted more research papers and presenters. Anyway, I thank once again everyone, and particularly the host of this Congress. And we look forward to future association. And yeah, as Professor Diwari already summarized, the talks were very good. And we hope and we thank, we have seen in the interlude that, so many activities are being taken up by the government of Mizoram. So it's really nice. Thank you all. Thank you once again.
Okay. I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers and even to the presenters. The level of expertise and the knowledge of those presenters which we have seen just now are worth appreciating. So I deeply appreciate their positive attitudes, their willingness to explain their concepts from their paper. And last but not least, even as we cross a 1 year mark of this pandemic, there seems to be no stopping of this SARS-CoV-2 virus, which continues to still wreak havoc all around the world. Even a developed country like US, they cannot, it's still, the pandemic response remains a work in progress without much proper planning. So let us all try to stay safe in the winter months as the threat of this pandemic looms large. And thank you so much.
Okay, good afternoon to all. So I am thankful to organizers for giving me an opportunity for this association with Mizoram Science Congress. One suggestion from my side is that there is some more publicity is required. because as far as our institute is concerned, I got some news that there is a Mizoram Science Congress in sometimes in October. But after that, we didn't hear any news. The date has been changed or what is the plan. Otherwise, there may be some papers not only from the science branches but from the engineering side also. We can give some more papers for this science congress also. And second thing, I got good presentations. So I said that those young researchers are there. They keep it up their morale. So in future we may get some good research from Mizoram side also. Thank you very much.
It was reinitiated and put in this mode.
Okay, Dr. Shukla, I understand your concern. First of all, the Congress was supposed to be held in the month of October, but due to the COVID pandemic, it was cancelled. Then later on, it was decided to have it again online. And sorry for the inconvenience created. And also the abstracts of all the presentations and the programs will be published, but the full paper will not be published.
Abstract booklet for abstract booklet.
It will be published as an abstract booklet. With that, we conclude our session for today. I would again like to thank Professor R.H. Duncan Lingdo and all the expert members, as well as the presenters for accepting our invitation and making the time to attend this session. And also, without you, today's program would not have been a success. Then at 2 p.m. today, there will be a talk on IPR that will be shown in the YouTube channel of Mystic Mizoram, and the program will be in Mizo. And later tonight at 8 p.m., there will be a special live panel discussion on the topic COVID-19 pandemic, is biotech the light at the end of the tunnel. This will be broadcasted in Zonet, LPS, and YouTube, and I invite you all to watch it. Again, thank you all. Stay safe and have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.